Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on Nebo TV. My name is Agbache Onome and we are still on the NSAS protest which took a violent dimension on Tuesday 20th of October as a result of the killings at Lekki Toll Gate. Guys, since the protest took a violent dimension, so many world leaders, international leaders have intervened in the situation. And right now we're going to be discussing various world leaders that have spoken as regards the protest. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Wednesday 21st of October through his spokesman said he was closely following recent developments across Nigeria in the wake of reports that protesters had been shot dead and wounded, and so he called for an end to reported police brutality and abuses. Antonio expresses his condolence to the families of the protesters killed and wishes speedy recovery to those injured. He further called on Nigerian authorities to investigate these incidents and hold the perpetrators accountable. He also urged security forces to act at all times with maximum restraint while calling on the protesters to demonstrate peacefully and refrain from violence. The Secretary General reiterates the readiness of the United Nations to support national efforts towards finding a solution. Also guys, the United Nations Human Rights Chief Michelle Bachelet on Wednesday 21st of October also strongly condemned the excessive and disproportionate force by Nigerian armed forces in Lagos in a statement. According to the statement, reports that CCTV cameras and lightnings were deliberately disabled prior to the shootings at Lekki Toll Gate that led to the death of over 7 innocent protesters and some injured shows that it was premeditated, planned and coordinated, and it was a case of excessive use of force resulting in unlawful killings by Nigerian armed forces. According to Michelle Bachelet, the continued protest and several weeks of demonstrations was evidence that there was no public trust in the authorities. The United Nations Human Rights Chief also pointed out that the immediate creation of another team called SWAT team to replace the SAS without addressing some of the root causes of police violence and putting in place sufficient safeguard to prevent future violations has eroded the public trust even further. Exactly, and this is the complaints of so many Nigerians that in no time this SWAT team might end up to be another SAS team, and even Pastor E.A. Adeboye made mention of it, saying it shouldn't be the case of a new wine in an old bottle. Michelle Bachelet further said that the terrible event that took place in Lekki Toll Gate in Lagos State is like adding fuel to fire that was already starting to rage out of control. She then added that authorities needed to take immediate concrete steps to show they are genuinely committed to tackling impunity after years of inaction. Ms. Bachelet also called for immediate investigation on the reports of peaceful protesters that were brutally killed by armed military men and hoodlums. Moving on guys, the European Union Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell on Wednesday 21st of October also condemned the killing of protesters and called for justice and urges that those responsible for the killings should be brought to justice. Also guys, a statement by the Swedish Embassy in Nigeria states with great concern over the use of force illegally by security forces at the Lekki Toll Gate in Lagos State, killing innocent protesters, emphasizes the respect for human rights and peaceful demonstration, and urges security forces to exercise restraint and asks Nigerian authorities to urgently investigate the incident. Another great international personality, who is the former US presidential candidate Hilary Clinton, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and the Nigerian army to stop the killing of young protesters in the country. She made this statement via her official Twitter handle in reaction to the Lekki toll gate massacre. The United States Vice President Joe Bidden has urged President Muhammadu Buhari and the Nigerian military to cease the violent attack on protesters in Nigeria. He expressed his condolence to all those who have lost a loved one in the violence. Joe Bidden has said that the United States must stand with Nigerians who are peacefully demonstrating for police reform and seeking an end to corruption in their democracy. Bidden further encouraged the Nigerian government to engage in a good faith dialogue with civil society to address these long-standing grievances and work together for a more just and inclusive Nigeria. Guys, just as celebrities, pastors, and even world leaders have intervened in the protests and killings in Nigeria, famous athlete expresses shock and shame over the situation. Heavyweight boxing champion Anthony Joshua, whose mother is a Nigerian, said violence and killings are terrible and unlawful. He said change will happen and it is time. Anthony Joshua said this via his Twitter handle. Also, Odion Igalo, a Nigerian international footballer who plays for Manchester United Football Club, through a recorded video sent a message as to how he feels about the situation of the country. In his video, he said he feels sad and broken and referred to the Nigerian government as shameless for killing their own citizens.
I'm sad and heartbroken. I don't know where to start from. I'm not the kind of guy that talks about politics, but I can't keep quiet anymore for what is going on back home in Nigeria. I would say Nigerian government, you guys are a shame to the world for killing your own citizens, sending military to the street to kill unarmed protesters because they are protesting for their rights. It's uncalled for. Today, 20th of October 2020, you people will be remembered in the history as the first government that sent military to the city to start killing their own citizens. I am ashamed of this government. We are tired of you guys and we can't take this anymore. I'm calling the UK government, calling all those leaders in the world to please see what is going on in Nigeria and help us, help the poor citizens. The government are killing their own citizens. We are calling you guys, the UN, to see to the matters. And I want to call my brothers and sisters back home to remain safe. Be indoors, please don't come out. Because these governments, they are killers and they will keep killing if the world did not talk about this. God bless you all and remain safe. One Nigeria. We move.
Now, senior officials of the United States government on Thursday met with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and expressed displeasure over the shooting of unarmed protesters at the Lekki toll gate. The U.S. also demanded that soldiers behind the shootings must be brought to book. The spokesperson for the State Department, Morgan Ortagus, said in a statement that the officials were led by Chancellor of the U.S. State Department, Ulrich Brechbol. Others at the meeting included Assistant Secretary Robert Destro and Assistant Secretary Dennis Natalie. The officials, according to the statement, raised concerns over the ongoing violence in Nigeria as well as human rights violations, human trafficking, religious freedom, and to hear from the senior Nigerian government officials on how they are addressing those issues. The Chancellor expressed the U.S. condemnation of the use of excessive force by military forces that fired on armed demonstrators in Lagos State. He expressed condolences to the victims of casualty and urged the government of Nigeria to abide by its commitment to hold those responsible accountable under the law. According to the statement, Osibanjo as well as the Chancellor noted that the right to peaceful assembly and freedom of expression are fundamental human rights and core democratic principles. Also in the statement, Chancellor Brechbol and Vice President Osibanjo emphasizes the importance of US and Nigeria collaboration on common goals of improving security cooperation and strengthening economic partnership to foster mutual prosperity. Well guys, upon all this, we still don't know what will happen next. We don't know the end point of this whole protest because the citizens are more grieved about the killings, and the speech by President Muhammadu Buhari did not help in watering down the tension. Majority of international leaders have intervened, so what do we think will happen next? Stay tuned on Nebo TV for more details. My name remains Agbache Onome. God bless you and God bless Nigeria.